Jesus girl. Jesus girl. Hey, it's the diary of a Jesus girl. Let the wings of the Spirit of the Lord just swirl. You are in it, but you know you're not a part of this world. And for the swine, you should never cast your pearl. Yes, it's just the diary of a Jesus girl. The diary of a Jesus girl. Welcome to the Diary of a Jesus Girl podcast, where we discuss real life issues of the committed Christian woman. This podcast will inspire you to love Jesus and impact lives like Jesus. And now it's time for your host, Crystal Day, award-winning author, speaker, and Christian coach.
So welcome to another episode of the Diary of a Jesus Girl podcast with yours truly, Crystal Day. So welcome. Can I admit, I'm just looking forward to this conversation. And when you hear me say that, you know, say we're kind of bring something little different this week, right? So a few weeks ago, we did the podcast where Let Single Women Speak. And I made a promise, right? I made a promise. And when I make promises, I'm a woman of my word, right? And I said that I was going to get some men to come on because I believe the single men have a voice. The single men, they need to speak. So, can I say welcome again? Welcome to the Diary of a Jesus Girl podcast, where we discuss real life issues of a committed Christian woman. But guess what? We're not just about talking to women. We're talking to men. We're talking to teens. We're talking to whoever the Lord leads, because it's his show and he will get the glory from it. So today's episode, we are interviewing two of my very good friends, single men. Yes, I know that somebody might say single men exist. Single Christian man exists. Yes, they exist. And them good looking too. So it's not some ragamuffin, right? Them ambitious. And guess what? Them love Jesus. Like, they love Jesus. And I'm so excited to have my guests on today. Let the single men speak. So I want to welcome Kemar. Kemar, how are you, Kemar?
Good evening, Crystal. I'm fine.
So your Kemar is like, all right, you know. But Kemar is a soldier, is in the army. Kemar is single. I don't know if he's dating, so we're gonna find that out, because I try not to ask him anything yet. So we're gonna find it out together. But I met Kemar a few years ago, and we have just kind of kept in contact. And I believe that this conversation is a conversation that will be led by God. So I know that you will be blessed. So Kemar, pronounce it. I keep messing up your last name. Kemar
Schoburgh.
Schoburgh. Yeah, no, don't
Right.
blame me. Yes. So Kemar Schoburgh, he will be sharing us tonight. And then Stefan, you're there? Stefan, you're there?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Yes, so Stefan is one of my bestie boo. You know, we work together. Stefan is a man that love God, can I tell you? Stefan is a man that gets up and pray at 4 o'clock every morning. Like, from I met him, he wakes up and pray for an hour. And I'm trying to still do that, but I'm not yet accomplished that. But he's just a man of discipline, you know, a man that loves God. And I wanted to be very intentional about the men that we bring on today, because we want men that are on fire, Jesus men, like how we have Jesus girls, Jesus men, and I believe that these two men will bless our hearts today. So welcome again, gentlemen, and our listeners are, I'm sure, them ready, gonna turn up, like gonna probably have a call on a single friends and probably listen to this together, you know, because we don't want to scoop, right? So I want to start, of course, just for them to tell us about them. So I don't like to do the whole formal thing. So I want them to tell us about themselves. So I've shared, you know, how I've met them. But Kemar, you can start. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, as mentioned before, I'm Kemar Schoburgh. I'm 34 years of age, divorced, and I'm a marine engineer in the JDF Coast Guard.
Kemar, you don't want to tell nothing else? Any kids?
Unfortunately, no.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay. What do you like to do, Kemar, just in case? What are your
Well,
hobbies?
I enjoy going out to just experiencing adventures. Just yesterday, I was in Reach Falls. Um, I read books. I surf the net. I love reading. Reading is one of my passions. I'm finding that I'm into video editing these days, so it's something that I am looking to take on. Other than that, my life is just consumed with work.
Yes, he really works a lot. But you see, I want to tell you, I just wanted to know, so yeah, a good dude. He's a good dude, and I'm glad because his perspective, he has been married before, so he's no divorce, and so his perspective also will be different. So let's also welcome Stefan Peart. Stefan, what I love too about Stefan is a 7-day Adventist. So again, that's different. I want you see, when we tell you about Diary for Jesus Girl, we don't, it's not about religion, it's not about denomination, it's about people who love Jesus, and I want to share their experiences. So Stephanie, you want to come on and tell us a little bit about you?
Hi everyone. Thanks for having me on the program. So I'm Stefan Peart. I work at the forestry department. I'm the head of the unit in information and documentation. And as Crystal said, I'm a Seventh-day Adventist. I'm pretty much the opposite from Kemar. I'm not an outgoing person. I'm a homely person. I don't know why. I will stay home and I'll do stuff. So yeah, ladies, if you pick up a guy like me, you don't have to worry about cleaning the house or the bathroom or stuff like that because I have that covered. But anyways, my favorite color is blue. I like playing basketball. I like reading, and sometimes I do dub poet and stuff like that. So yeah, that's pretty much. And I like singing too as well. 'Cause I sing with a group. Everybody knows that Seventh-day Adventist normally sing. So yeah, so
Yeah,
that's pretty much it.
you're right. The 70 listener, like the 70 Adventist, but I know if they manufacture the singers, them there, like when the men them singing at the 70. Anyway, yes, but it's true. So we're gonna get into our signature question. And we normally ask your conversion story. So I'm gonna start with Stefan this time. To tell us a little bit, tell us about your conversion story. What was life like before Christ, and how did you come to Christ?
All right. Well, for one, whilst growing up, my mother kind of had me sheltered, depending on the based on where we came from and the situation that we were in at the time, and the inner city and stuff like that. What you are being exposed to in those type of situations. So I wasn't really exposed because my mother had me sheltered because she didn't want me to um be associated with these type of people and the subculture. However, though, outside of that, I had issues because I mean she was working all the time and she didn't have any time for me. And then my father left when I was about 2 months, so I had to be staying by myself for most of the times. I didn't even know I had siblings till about uh 9 year when I was 9 years of age, and so that was a bit difficult for me. But after growing up and you're going through that little teenage stage and stuff, I was I was I was very quiet. I didn't really talk a lot, but certain stuff I would internalize and it would kind of break me down. However, but when I transitioned from, so I never really had a bad life in terms of being exposed to the culture in the inner city and stuff like that. However, internal issues like self-esteem and self-confidence and stuff like that, because like for one, I had a lot of acne on my face when I was younger and in my teenage years, and I didn't speak up and I didn't really talk a lot and stuff. I would internalize, and then at the time my mother was not a Christian, so the type of words that come out of her mouth and stuff like that. So that kind of messed with my emotions and my mentality and stuff like that. So I had a very low self-esteem. I had very low self-confidence, and I didn't believe in myself. But then I remember there was this lady that lived across from us. Like, her name is Sister Ruth, and then like every Friday she would be missing, like from about 4 o'clock. And I don't see this lady till about Sunday night or probably the Monday. So it was very intriguing. And then I remember one day she had two sons, and I started to associate myself with them. And she said to them, one day you must invite him to the evening worship. And I was like, evening worship? I don't know what she talking about. Anyways, I decided I was going to go, and then I went and I found out that she was a Seventh-day Adventist. And then I was in the worship and she asked me what was my favorite verse if I ever read the Bible before. But I said not really, but there was a verse that stood out to me even up to this day, and it's really my favorite verse, which is Psalms 1. Psalms 1, that blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. So when she said that to me, and I repeated that verse, and from there, I started to have back to back worship with her like every Friday. And then she started inviting me to church. And then pretty much the rest was history. However, being in Christendom doesn't mean that we have it smooth sailing. And women, you're not the only one who has issues. We have issues as well. And it's not just sexual issues, we have other issues too as well. And know that we are living in a society where the paradigm has shifted, where a woman is now seemingly taking over everything, that kind of play on our emotions and mental space too as men, because we are expected to be the head. We are expected to be the ones who are to step up and take our place. But unfortunately, we are, we have been marginalized, and there's a preconception about men. So we have all that issues dealing with as godly men.
All right. So thank you, Stefan. Thank you. That's a good segue into when we get into our questions. But I think that, your conversion story that you shared, that somebody planted that seed, and that woman, just saw a young man and just like, why not invite him to church? And I hope that's a invitation for us as believers to take that opportunity to, because she could have said, boy, him a boy, him not gonna come to church and stuff. But I hope that will kind of tug on somebody's heart just right there to say that you don't know what God can do in and through someone's life, and through that seed of she just inviting him to worship, led to him being still serving the Lord to this day. So to God be the glory for her. So Kemar, you want to tell us about your conversion story? How did you come to Christ?
Yes, well, my conversion story is really simple. I came to Christ on May 9th, 2004. Prior to that, I was what you would call a good sinner on their way to hell, because, you know, I wasn't really doing anything. I've never been in a nightclub. I was a virgin. I was just at home. Even as a young man, my sister usually basically cussed me up, say, me a young man, I'm just in at the house because I didn't really go anywhere. You know, um, my mother is an Adventist, but my sisters, they came to Christ a couple of years before that, and I was invited to church by them. I kept putting it off, and probably about after 9 months, I started, attending Sunday services, from Sunday services to youth meeting, and I got an understanding, of the whole Christian life. And one morning, May 9th, that is when the sermon was preached, it really reached me, really jerked me up. And when they had the altar call, I don't know how, but I just got up. I don't even know when I went to the altar, but I knew that, this is what I want. So I got up, went to the altar. I think I got baptized the 27th of June, and that was it.
Oh wow. Oh, I love that Ketmar says, I was a good dude. Like, I was one of those that, you just think that you're living a decent life. You're not killing nobody. In his case, he's not partying, he's not, going around with a bag of girl. So sometimes when you live this supposedly good life, many times people feel like, oh, but yeah, man, I forget saved, but there's something right there. He said, the conviction and the Holy Spirit came upon him, and he knew that, yeah, he needed Jesus Christ in his heart. It wasn't about good behavior. It was about, having that relationship with Christ. So I thank you, gentlemen, for that story, and that testimony of how you came to Christ. So I want to get into it because Stefan kind of started with it, where it comes on to let single women speak. let the single men speak. So we had the single women on, and then now the single men are saying, and Stefan started it like, we do have issues outside of, okay, we just want to have sex. Sex is like, that's not the truth. They have issues. And he shared his of saying, I struggled a lot with my self-esteem, I had acne issues, growing up in inner city, just so many things. But I want to get into Stefan. Let's ask the first question. Give us, probably don't have to tell us your exact age, but you can give your age range. I know you're about 20 something, so you can tell us, and tell us why you're single. That's where we're gonna start. Why are you single, Stefan?
Well, I don't mind sharing my age. I'm 30 years of age. I just celebrated it on the 16th of
Oy.
June. So yeah, I'm 30 years of age. Why am I single? Well, I'm single because of one particular reason. And Crystal, you're familiar with it. I was engaged to get married and stuff, but I don't know, things got sour and the young lady decided that she's going to leave. And up to this point, I don't know why. She just decided that, listen, well, she didn't even say that she was leaving. She just disappeared, not hearing from her or anything. Like probably a month or a couple of weeks after, she just turned up and like, well, she actually broke up with me over the phone. She texts me. I don't know who does that, but okay. She decided that she's going to break up with me, and she texts me over the phone and said, listen, this is not going to work and stuff like that. So I guess that's the main reason why I am single right now.
All right, so Stefan shared, say he was engaged to get married, planning his wedding for, I think it was December last year, and about a few months before the wedding, she said, it's
Well,
not
it was actually in January we were supposed to,
January.
at the kind of January of this year, 2020. But then around August thereabout, she just left and she didn't came back.
Okay, so that's why he's currently single. So, Kemar, what about you? Why are you still single?
Well, I got divorced in 2017. Was finalized in 2017. But sometime in 2016, well, Stefan said she broke up over the phone. I actually got a WhatsApp message. So at least, he got a phone call. She was overseas at the time. That when she comes back, she wants a divorce. But after that, um, you know, divorce is trauma. It's like losing someone. It's something that you can't adequately explain. It's something that has to be experienced. And trust me, you don't want to experience that. I don't want anybody to experience it. Um, but after the divorce, I dated one person. It it never worked out. I broke it off. Reason being, um, after I had to be honest with myself. Though I was over her, I was still not healed from all that happened. And also it was very close to home in terms of you know friends, our friends knowing the ex-wife and stories of coming back and forth. So I basically cut it off there. But from there, I just resort to take some time and really, because as the Bible said, the unmarried man should be concerned about the ways of the Lord. So, it's a time of undistracted devotion. So though I am ready again, I'm just focusing on my relationship with God now. So I'm keeping an eye out, but I'm still, just focusing on the path.
Okay. So, Kemar, I want you, I mean, you don't have to tell us details about marriage, but I figured you got married when you were saved. So, tell
Yes.
us about that aspect, because you got married when you were saved. I figured it probably was a Christian woman. So, I mean, tell us a little bit about your experience being married already. Like, what were you looking for in a wife before? What probably you would have done differently now. Just give us a like an idea of that aspect.
All right. What I was looking for, basically similar qualities like myself. Um, you know, but no, it has shifted. What I wanted then, what I want now, is totally different, because you live and you learn. But marriage in general, marriage is a lovely thing. Trust me. Um, like the joys from it. It comes with challenges, just like in a relationship. And when you get married, like it's different. Like the devil is after you. The challenges step up. But once you work things out and you keep Christ at the center, you're good to go. Um, then I know what I do differently. Um, One of the things I think I'd be more patient. It requires a lot of patience. I am patient, but I still could exercise more patience. Um, in terms of, well, it spills over from work. I'm I'm considered a neat freak. Let's say that. I don't consider myself, but my friends do. For instance, one of the things in marriage that you know sparked in the early days that caused an argument was that whenever I came home, um, and she washed the clothes, she would fold them, put in the drawer. But when I come, that is not how I do it. Like everything was just in one. But from work, I have to fold things neatly, and all shirts have to be here, socks in the other drawer, underwear, all of that. So I basically just rearrange it how I wanted it when I come home. And, as a result, when she did laundry after that, she would just throw all the clothes on the bed in the other room. And when I come home, I deal with it. You know, it caused a little argument. So, no, but I'm not extreme like the toothpaste must be squeezed from the bottom and not the middle and all of that. No, but it's two people coming from separate backgrounds, you know, different family backgrounds. So there has to be a lot of compromise. And some things you have to just say, oh, that can live with. Other things you sit and you talk about and you say, this is how we're going to do it. You find a middle ground. So one thing I've identified is say, all right then, I think I need to exercise a bit more patience.
Okay, okay. Stefan, I'm gonna ask you a similar question. So you were engaged. So what would you say you were looking for in a woman then that probably since it didn't work out and you would probably do you would have done differently now if you're gonna
All
pursue
right.
somebody?
All right. Well, certainly I must agree with Kemar. How I thought then is totally different now because your perspective change and you live and you learn. And before I get into that, I must say that the experience, trust me, it's not, I would not wish that on my enemy if I had any. I don't think I have any, but if I did, I would not even wish that experience on them because it is something that is really hard to go through, but at the end of the day, you have to deal with it. And you need people to help you get through situations like those. And like, yes, Crystal, you were one of my biggest shoulders to lean on in those times. And I must shout out to Shauna K. Palmer, the best relationship coach. Y'all should go and hit her up if you have in those issues or if you know anybody. But anyways, what I would do differently though from then, I would definitely exercise more patience as well. And I would just, work on myself, like whatever it is, because having gone through that, I started to analyze and possibly look at where I went wrong as a person. Maybe I wasn't doing what I was supposed. Maybe I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. Maybe I was doing too much. I don't know. But then, as I said, I didn't really get any closure because I'd asked what was the issue and she didn't really said anything. So I really don't know what to pinpoint. But no, I would definitely exercise patience. And then, truth be told, if you're not fully connected to God, it just not gonna work. Because I'm going to need like a really virtuous woman, but not just virtuous in character, not just virtuous in emotionally and otherwise, but the top priority has to be spiritual. You have to have that connection with God. You have to show that you are that connected. I know that no one is perfect because I myself is not perfect. And while I was going through that experience, one of my biggest challenge was to forgive her. So while going through that process and praying, I keep asking the Lord to help me to forgive her because I was broken, and I was torn apart. So my biggest concern there was to forgive her because I knew what she did, and it hurt. But at the end of the day, even though physically I felt that way and it bruised me emotionally and otherwise, but as a Christian, I had to show that side of it and show that God is indeed faithful despite the situation. So my biggest concern there was to forgive her for whatever that she did. And I don't think I'm there yet, but I'm still working it. But I don't have anything against her. I mean, I wish her all the best wherever she is right now in the world or whatever she's doing. I wish her all the best, and I don't have her, but I pray for her every single day when I get up in the mornings to have my worship. I pray for her. I put her before the Lord and stuff. But no, things would be different. I would probably be more reserved and try to be sure of what I'm getting into. And as I said, if the spirituality and the love for God is not at the forefront, I can't continue. I won't go any further. That has to be right at the front. And if it's not there and you're not showing up like what you ought to, not saying that no one is perfect, and while we go through our Christian journey as pilgrims, we do mess up and we do fall, but still you have to show that level of, that want for God, that need for God, that love for God, that urge for God. That has to be there. That has to be the number one priority if I should actually think about going into another relationship.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. So let's continue. So I want to ask Kemar. No, there in sometimes because there is a thought. Okay, there are so many women in church, less men are in church. So what are men looking for? Like, why them just don't pick? What's stopping you from? Okay, you have been divorced since 2017. You dated one, so like you're 2020 now. So like, why don't you already just choose a wife? Like, what are you waiting on? So I want you to answer that. But I also want you to kind of share some of the challenges that you have found, you have gotten saved from 2014, 2004. So it's been, what, 16 years, almost 17 years you have been saved in church, and you are one of the seemingly decent guys. Of course, definitely, I'm sure you're not perfect, but, decent youth that try love Jesus and hold him on. So what would you say are some of the challenges that you find or you face as a man, thinking about marriage and family and the whole works?
Challenges. I honestly I can't identify any challenge that I face in terms of, well, I'll refer to marriage. But then when I was married, the challenge that I had, the biggest challenge was with work. Women need time and attention, and due to work, that could not be given sufficiently. Um, then being away from home for long periods and then coming home because I live in Portland, I work in Kingston. When I'm home like for the weekends are the longest, Friday, and I return Sunday, so that I can be early for work on Monday morning. But by the time you get home, like the time just dwindles away, and though it's good, the time that you spend is good, you're gone again for another week or 2 weeks or sometimes a month. So time was the biggest challenge. Um, Other than that, I can't identify any personally that I have. Why I'm single. Um, when I'm out, I actually go out with friends, like two co-workers. We mostly head out, call ourselves the Three Musketeers. So we always just head out to various locations. But I don't really go out. I just go home to church and then back to work. So I'm not meeting anybody. That's the biggest challenge. I'm really not meeting anybody. You know, that it's true. You know, it's been a while since I've attended. Well, I haven't seen any concerts lately. Maybe I'm not in the know, but usually I used to go to like album launches, DJ Nicholas and all that. It's been a while since I've seen these things, and there isn't any events
Well,
for
COVID,
Christians to
yeah,
come online.
COVID kind of make things kind of, yeah, no, now go on now.
But even before COVID, like I don't.
Things,
Well,
yeah,
maybe you can point that out, but I don't think there's any event that it doesn't have to be. Normally they have. I see they have stuff like speed dating and all of that. That's not really effective. But if you have somewhere that Christians can gather and you get to know people and and really like meet each other as opposed to seeing the person once, and then you don't really get to see how the person reacts in certain situations or get to talk to them at length and know what they like, what they are about and all of that. So
okay,
I'm just basically, as I said, locked away. That is why I'm not meeting anyone.
okay,
I'm just
all
work
right,
to home, back to work.
all right. Stefan, what about you? What would you say are some of the challenges as a young man, a young Christian man, or a man that desires to have a family, in terms of dating? What would you say some of the challenges that men face regarding that?
All right. Well, off the top, you know that the women know they are coming up. They are the ones that are holding the positions. They are one that are, making the money, and they are the ones who are becoming the leaders and stuff like that. So, I mean, that is a part of it. That is a part of the challenges that we face. So now that we are now being challenged, I don't know why it is like that? And why do we fear stuff like that when a woman is in charge or a woman is taking the lead and stuff like that, knowing that we are the ones who should be leading and being the priesthood and stuff like that. But outside of that, I mean, just the mere fact that the stigma that is being placed on men right now, especially within our society, and I'm speaking about Jamaica in particular, the stigma that is being set on us, it's just, I mean, it's just confusing. It's very demeaning and stuff like that because if you look within like the universities and stuff like that, the percentage of men comparing to women doing degrees and stuff like that, it's very it's like 80 to 20% and stuff like that. So those are like the challenges. But like personally, you women, if a woman should, like, well, if certain women know, especially the ones that are established, they are going to want a guy that is basically on the same level. Some of the women, I don't know, I don't want to offend anybody, but some women, they don't really focus on spirituality. They are more leaning to the materialistic side of things based on their attainment and what they have accomplished within their careers or whatever. But, and I'm not saying that they are materialistic, but when a woman work hard, go to school for 10, 15 years, and holds a boss position, have a nice house, have a car and stuff like that, it's only fair for her to get somebody who is basically on the same level to match that. But then why I said what I said in terms of spirituality, I remember a few years back, before my dilemma and stuff like that, I remember there was this particular young lady that I was very much interested in and stuff. And I mean, I went to her. All I went to her was with faith, because at that time I was in church and being exposed in church and doing Bible readings and doing Bible competitions and preaching and involving the youth department and stuff. The Lord has been working on my confidence and stuff like that. So I mean, from the moment I saw that I could go up on the pulpit and preach to about 100 or more people, I know that God was working on me. So I know that my confidence and my self-esteem was building. So I used that and I decided I'm going to go to this young lady and I'm going to tell her. So when I went to her, all I did, I went with faith and a 5-year plan. So I told her what I was about, and I told her what I was interested in, and I gave her my 5-year plan. Said, "This is what I want to do in the next 5 years, and this is where I see you in the plan and marriage and everything." But at that time, she didn't want that. She already wanted, because she was already going to university. I never started it because I was still working on myself. But based on where I was coming from, and I have my little job, I don't have the support, the family support that she has. So I have to be working for myself, sending myself to go to school. So she would attain stuff or get established way before me. So, but I went to her with my plan and with faith, but she wasn't really looking at the spiritual part of things. She was looking at what I was able to give her. What can you give me right now? And that is one of the biggest issues that some of our men face right now, even in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, because you realize that not a lot of young people getting married, and if they do get married within 6 months or a year, they are divorced. So obviously there is a fundamental issue or underlying issue that is affecting the whole intimacy and godly relationship as it relates to Christians. So those are some of the issues that we face as young men. We have to ensure. So that's why I'm saying no. Know that the women might say that they are not really leaning to the materialistic side of things, but when they work and they go to school and they get their big jobs and they buy the house and the car, they're really not going to want somebody who can't really match up to that. And I mean, it's understandable, but then you see what we have to compete with. And I don't think it should be a competition, because what if I don't have the brains like you to go to school for 10 years or 15 years and get a degree and a master's degree and a house on the hill and a nice car? I can't do that. I can't sit in meetings, but I can work with my hands. I can fix car. I can probably farm or something else that is not, the conventional type or what is seemingly conventional nowadays as it relates to careers. So we have that issue that we are faced with as men. And then outside of that, we have to, if we're going to go to a godly woman, we have to come good, because we have to ensure that, our spirituality is up, you know, in terms of being firm in the Lord and being the head. We have to ensure that we are very rooted and grounded. And as men, sometimes I can tell myself, sometimes we just slack off, like, I can't be bothered because it's like it doesn't make any sense. So it's not that we don't see women and it's not just a case where you just go and choose like that, because women are looking for certain things and it's not really spiritual based. A woman love a godly man, and I can tell you that. But in these times, probably a couple years back, it was only based on spirituality. But now you have other factors that are associated with it, like money and, well, the materialistic side of things. That is my opinion. I don't know what Kemar would say towards
Oh,
that.
okay. So I'm gonna like Kamar, but I'm gonna also ask her, well, Kamar, do you have anything to say? Because the truth is, what Stefana said is something that I've heard a lot of times. That you find, and I've heard it on the female. Like I've had friends that say, they drive. If the guy don't drive, then them not should not date him. Or if she have her own house, but him not the house, she not date him. And it's something that I kind of feel uncomfortable with, because as you said, we don't know if, for example, like you that grew up in the inner city, probably it takes you a little longer to accomplish what you have accomplished, to accomplish more, versus So the truth is, while you might be trying to be, walking on eggshell to say what you're saying, the truth is, I'm going to be honest, because I have female friends and that's how they think. Because they have accomplished so many things. If the man them now come, with this and that, and you find that a lot of the men that are accomplished, you find that they have them taken, they are a bit more taken, I guess, quicker, whatever the case is. But Kemar, what your thoughts are?
Yes. I agree with Stefan. In my neck of the woods, it is not so 100%. Um, I have I have two friends. One in particular, she has 2 degrees, bachelor's and a master's, and she's thinking of doing her PhD. And she was telling me that, she's afraid to, because when she speaks to men, who are interested in her, and she tells them all that she has accomplished, they are, afraid, and they feel that they can't really match up to what she's bringing to the table. And I'm telling her that, go ahead and do a PhD, because if a man feels that he's not able to match up to what you are bringing to the table, then that should not deter you. I am okay with a woman making more money than me, right? That does not mean you should, right? She shouldn't swing it over your head as a man. As long as you're doing what you're doing and you're taking care of the home, I don't think a wife, a woman who loves you, would swing that over your head.
But then and I get, and you're right, because so there's two sides of the coin. You have the men that are very insecure in themselves, very insecure because they have not accomplished what they, to compare themselves. So they kind of step back and like, okay, I'm not pursuing a certain kind of girl. And then you have some that, that probably like Stefan, that would have said, this is where I want to go, but this girl is like, no, me need to have it right now or else. So there are two sides to the coin, as you mentioned.
Right.
But then the question begs to ask, which is, again, I have a lot of male single friends, and one of the biggest thing they've always said is that they find that evil girls in church, the first thing that they are not looking at is the spiritual aspect. So they're like, the first thing they're thinking about is how the man take care of me, more than how is this man be able to 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 help me spiritually, to lead me spiritually. Is this man an honest man? Is this man a loyal man? And you find that men will say, decent good men will say, the girl him go for the man them in a church where they he, she. The popular men them way more than, okay, a guy that is trying, or a guy. So you find that whether women, and this is why we talk about this on the Diary of a Jesus Girl, because it's kind of weird to hear it from me, but because I ask a lot of questions, I find that the men have these issues. They're like, the women are not always, especially men that love God, they're saying that the women are not necessarily always looking at the spiritual aspect first. They're
Yes.
always looking at, what this man have to bring to the table more than that, which is understandable. We're not saying if we take up no crop, we're not saying if we, but we are saying that as women of God, is that our first, should that be our first intention? But I want to ask the next question, because Stefan mentioned something about the rejection, and one of the questions that it was, is there any truth to the statement when, for example, a woman likes a guy and he will, so all right, so let me read a question. That this is a question from somebody. Is there any truth to the statement, when a guy likes you and wants you, he will make his feelings known? Or are we putting pressure on the men who always also struggle with the fear of rejection? So that question basically is saying, is it okay for a woman to kind of tell you that they like you? Or some men will say, hell no, I don't want her to tell me. She can hint it, but I don't want she tell me. So what are what are you guys' thoughts on that?
All right. Well,
Uh,
I the analogy that I always use is that when you look at the rooster and the hen, you'll never see the hen chasing the rooster. It's always the other way around. But the hen always walks and passes to catch the rooster's attention. Now, if a girl likes me, it's okay to say that, I really like you. I think you're a nice guy. But it is he who finds, not she who chases. And if she comes on to me too strong, then that is going to basically turn me off or push me away. Men are naturally built to chase. So all you have to do is let it be known. If he likes you, he will come after you.
All right, all right. So you're saying, which you're agreeing. So what about that fear? So don't men struggle with the fear of don't you guys like struggle with the fear of rejection? And wouldn't you want that kind of that help for her to say
Yes,
come first to say to you first?
most definitely. And that is why I said if she likes me, it's okay to say that. But just if you say it, then allow the man to come. Because a lot of men, as you say, fear rejection. Um, fun fact, of all relationships that I've been in, I've never approached the girl before. Never. I've never seen a girl and approach her. I always get approached. Still, I'm not afraid of rejection, you know? So if I see a girl and I go over to her and say, because no matter how good of a person you are, you know, you won't be everybody's cup of tea. But if you say, I'm not interested, fine. At least you tried.
Okay, Stefan, what are your thoughts?
Well, I must agree with Kemar. I mean, if she makes it known, fine. But then you have another flip side to the coin because depending on who she is and what she and it goes back to what she's attained and what the man might reject the man might start to question himself like am I going to be good for her? Am I the type of guy that she's going to want and stuff like that? So, it's kind of a flip side because I think honestly, even though, because I, like Kemar, I'm not afraid now of being rejected, but I had that issue before. But then at the same time, I don't think any man would want to be rejected. Worst if it's somebody that he really likes. But like I said, as what Kemar said, once she makes it known, and if the guy likes her, certainly you will go after her.
All right. So next question, guys. How do you know or when do you think that you're ready for a relationship? At what point? Because sometimes I have male friends, to be honest, nice, decent, clean Christian man, and they are just not interested in a relationship. And I'm whether most times, to be honest, most times it's always work. They're either always working or they're still working on their career and they don't feel like right now is the time to pursue a relationship. And for me, like, cause these are guys are my friend. I'm like, yo, listen, yeah, waste, like, you just need to get taken already, man. So just come out for the ship, so the rest of we can know where you're up to, you know. So, like, at what point do can we say, oh, a man is ready? When do you know that you're ready for a relationship? Anyone can
Well,
Uh,
answer that one. Okay.
all right. Well, I don't think that you're ever like truly ready to be in a relationship. I mean, life happens, and life just bring people together. But the reason why guys might stay away from being in a relationship because um just like women, if they had gone through a bad relationship or a breakup, we are made up the same way. If we have gone through a breakup, like Kimmer that is gone through a divorce, he's going to work on himself as a man and as a man of God, in particular, in to be the best version of himself because he when he was married, he did not think the same way. How he usually think in those time is not how he thinks now. Same as me. I was engaged to be married and everything went down the drain. However, what happened then and now and my frame of mind is two different things. So we're going to be reserved. We're going to be very cautious of the woman that we're going to let in our circle and to say that, okay, this is the woman that I'm going to pursue and this is the woman I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. We're going to be very cautious. And one of the reasons is not because the woman has an issue or we have an issue with the woman or whatever, but it's really self because I'm sure Kemar can agree with this, where we want to be know the best version of ourselves before we go into another relationship. And it has to do with all aspects, especially the spiritual aspect of it and being a man of God, because certain mistakes that we made then, we're certainly not going to make them now. And we want to ensure that whoever is going to come in our circle or whoever we're going to date, there are going to be certain, for use of a better word, certain guidelines and certain principles that we are going to, or quote unquote, like women normally say, they would set standards. We as men also are going to set standards for ourselves. And we want to be, as I said, the best version of ourselves, especially as a man of God.
Okay. Kemar, you had anything you wanted to add?
Um, well, thinking about it, I would say, when you're ready, when you have, if you tick certain important categories, I should say, on the box. Well, one, your relationship with Jesus Christ is firm and growing. You know, take it from me, single ladies. Money and all of that, can be or can create problems in marriage, but the man who has a firm relationship in Christ, in marriage, this is what will bring you through. When both of you are connected with Christ and growing, this is what you will need. All right. So when you have a firm relationship, a growing relationship with Jesus Christ, two, savings. I believe that, if I'm going to take the girl out of her father's house, I must be able to take care of her. When you're stable emotionally and mentally and all of that, then you're ready to go. Right now, I think I'm ready. You know, um, trust me, it's not because of age, but I love children. And at age 34, I think I should at least have two under my belt already. But
Ambitious. No?
it's
Sorry.
it's still not too late, you know. But I love children, and I think I'm ready again. But as long as you have certain things, you know, checked, then you're good to go.
Okay. All right. The next question. So as a way, and I love, love the Holy Spirit, because it's like everything we want to say is like a lead to my other question. So my other question was, as a way to help out your fellow sisters in Christ, right? What should we look for when a guy is leading us, or is just leading us on? So like, what are some of the red flags? So it's almost like you're we're brother in Christ. I want you to tell us what some of the things that you find that women are sometimes probably making mistakes, and when we're not seeing the red flags. So give us some tips on that.
Um, yes. You know, as you said, we can be blinded. Our women can be blinded. But the Bible tells you that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Sometimes when you're dating somebody, from the first date, based on how the person is, you can know that this is not for me. Look out for that. So if you get to know the person, please look at how they treat other women, their mother, sisters, all of that. Um, if the person, you know, has uncontrollable anger, all those things, that is why you need to see the person in different settings. Just don't just go to dinner, go bowling. And when you beat him, you see how him react when him lose and all them things. So you have to see that, because if you don't know how he is when he's angry, and then he has he has anger issues, and you go into marriage, that's going to cause problems. Then I will try to see the person in different settings, ask questions, and don't just, you know, sweep things under the carpet like, oh, this can go on. No. If it sticks out in your head, then you should basically question it further until you come to a conclusion that, all right, this is not as I thought it was. Ask friends, what do you think of this person? Get somebody up, well, probably even two or three, mature Christians. Ask them to pray with you, for you, you know. When if it goes to the point of engagement to be married, even more so, pray, pray, pray. And even I find that a lot of people don't think this is important, but premarital counseling, oh gosh, you need a lot of as much of it as you can get, because a lot of things will come out during counseling, and it is there that you'll know, whether or not this is something that you want. You want to go further with it, because that's what dating basically is. It's like an interview indirectly to see if this person is suitable for you, to spend the rest of your life with.
Oh, I love that, Kemar. So, listen, want to know some fool man will get on the program, The man tell you, ladies, when we see the red flags and we know, we feel it, it's like there's the conviction of the Holy Spirit says something not right. But because we're so desperate, because we well want to change our last name, because we well want we feel like the clock are tick, so we ignore these, and we're not saying that any man will be perfect. But Kemar also say, talk to mature Christians, and on the program we spoke about accountability a lot. We share a lot about accountability, having accountability. Stefan, what is it that you love to add?
All right. There's a favorite African proverb that says, "Only a fool tests the depth of the river with both feet." I say this to say that if you're going to date somebody, especially as a Christian, ensure you have meaningful conversations, meaningful and practical conversations. I'm not talking about, you know, the basics, like what color you like and what, your favorite food and stuff like that. That is done away with because we're in serious time now and God soon come for him world. So we need to ask practical and meaningful and mature questions. And if the guy that you're going to talk to, ensure he acquires the fruit of the spirit. Kemar said it about the anger and stuff like that. The fruit of the spirit, you have to be slow to anger. So that person must be a mimic, or it must be a replica of the character of Jesus Christ. Character is a very important thing. And us as men, we should continue working on character. So women, the ladies, I must encourage you. Character is very important. So you're going to look at his character, you're going to challenge his character and ensure that certain things like the fruit of the spirit, he has to acquire those. Like what Kemar said, put him in different situations, not just dinner where the moment is placid and dim lights and stuff like that, which is calm. Yeah, go to bowling, go to go-kart, go to something, and you beat him, laugh off him, mock him, and make him see how he reacts to that. You understand? And when you're having your conversations, I must encourage that, because I think that is the most part when, especially when two persons are going to date, the communication is going to be, very important. So while doing that, because that's how you're really going to get to know each other. And normally some persons, they try to put on a first impression to ensure that, because they said our first impression lasts. So when you're going to go into conversations with these guys that you're going to date, whoever it might be, ensure that the conversations are meaningful, ensure that they are practical, and ensure that it has to, have godly conversations as well. Because I think Kemar said it, ask the person to pray for you, you know. I mean, I'm not going to tell you to lie, but put him in certain situations and see how he comes through for you. And it don't necessarily have to be money. You probably just want his presence there, or you're going through a particular situation. Is he going to show up? Is he going to be too busy? I know that everybody has a job. Well, I'm assuming that the person that you're going to talk to will have have a job or something. But I mean, if you really need him and stuff like that, challenge him. Is he going to show up for you when you really need him and stuff like that? And just have meaningful and godly conversations. But outside of that, have practical conversations, and then easy well, you will know the type of person that you're actually dealing with, because when you start to ask him the questions and he starts to feel challenged, then you will know if he's man enough to stand up and answer your questions, or even stick out to even be with you or pursue you any further.
Okay, thank you. So I want to ask, because we're gonna be real. I want us to talk about the unequally yoke. So I want to ask personally, would any of you date a woman that's not a Christian one? If yes or no, we'd love to hear why. That's one. And then sex before marriage. For some reason people don't believe that there are men of God that like they believe that Christian men do want to have sex before marriage too. So how do you deal with that? So it's two questions. So I would love you guys to answer. So whoever go first.
Yes. Unequally yoked. No, definitely not. And it's not just being unequally yoked with an unbeliever, but I believe that you can be unequally yoked with a Christian. What do I mean by that? Both of you are not on the same level spiritually. And if you're not, then that is also a problem, because if you're a mature believer and you you're dating or you get married to somebody who is basically wishy-washy, they're not strong in faith. It's hard because as you won't be up there every day, and you want somebody, to basically pull you up when you are down. But if that person does not have a foundation in which, them can say, hey, me notice 2 day pass, reading, or you stop prayer, or whatever, they just basically let it slide. Then both of you it's a possibility that you can, end up in ruins. So both of you have to be chasing after God. You have to be firm in a relationship. Once you're on a level like that, the same level, and also not just with the relationship in terms of chasing, but you have some people who have beliefs that you in your faith has matured, and you say, really, this is not something I believe that we should partake in, and the other person will feel that like nothing wrong with this. The Holy Spirit has to basically dominate your life. Even if you don't agree with your spouse right away, you can pray about it. And this, if the Spirit convicts your heart, you can say, you know what, you're right about this. So you have to be on the same level. But with the unbeliever, definitely a no.
And you, Stefan? Oh, just before Stefan, what about the sex before marriage part?
Sex before marriage. Um, that is basically a blindfold. And let me tell you, as I mentioned before, I came into church a virgin. I had sex before marriage with my ex-wife. And as I said, it has the possibility to blind you. Looking back, like I saw some things like, no, trust me, we're really never ready. We weren't ready well, I think I was ready, but I saw some traits that I basically overlooked, and looking now, looking for a wife, I wouldn't necessarily look for those traits. Sorry, if somebody have them, Trust me, it would definitely be a no-no. So it has the possibility to blind you to everything, to the person's true character, to, other things. So stay away from it. Stay in the light. Light is good.
All right. So here the gentleman say that no, he has done the whole, let's try it out before marriage, but because of sex, he was blinded and refused to accept the red flags, and which is one of the main reasons why a lot of persons, when they talk about sex before marriage, like, listen, save it for marriage, because the truth is, once you get sexually involved with somebody, is almost like, especially if you love them already or you fell in love with them already, is like, everything, there's so much blind spot that occurs. So do it God's way. That's what the gentleman said. And he said, him said. So, Stefan, your time.
Yes, can you repeat the questions again for me?
The first one, the unequally
Uh,
yoked. Could you date somebody that is not saved? So some unequally yoked, and then the next one is sex before marriage.
okay, so as I said earlier in the interview, if you're not spiritually connected or spiritually rooted, you know, so that question for me is definitely a no. I would not date somebody that is not on the ship of Christ. So that's definitely a no. And as it relates to sex, I normally hear persons say that love is blind. Love is not blind. Lust is blind. Infatuation is blind. So it's better you wait before you have sex, because if you do that, then no, it's going to interrupt that flow, that spiritual flow, and that spiritual bond and physical bond that you guys are. You're not ready for the intimacy yet, because the intimacy is a pretty much higher level of spirituality, in the sense that you guys are coming together. I know you guys are giving yourself to each other. I know you guys are becoming one. So it's better you wait before you actually go down that road. So love is not blind. I hear people say it all the time, but love is blind and stuff. Love is not blind. Lust is blind, because when you start lusting now, and then now you go and have sex before marriage, it interrupts a lot of things. And some of the questions that you wanted to ask the guy wanted to ask the girl, you don't get to ask them. You just sweep it under the carpet, and then now you build a relationship on a shaky foundation. So no to the two questions.
Okay, so we're wrapping up, but I mean, I'm enjoying this, and there's a 2.0. Don't worry, we have another set of men uh, that I'll be interviewing soon again. So look out for that again. But I want to end with this question regarding just the whole thing. What are some of the things that we are as women are doing that you think is a turn off for godly men?
Um, well, the chasing, please don't. It's okay to express yourself, express an interest in the person. Let the guy know that you really like him, and then leave him to do the chasing. That's the number one thing. Um, please stop saying no man no there. I would demand them there. If you think there is luck, all you will see is luck. All
You
right.
no, you preach like you're preaching, Kemar. I always
Well,
say this.
yes, it's like when Elijah received that threat from Jezebel, and he ran away to the cave, and it was telling God that, they have killed all the prophets and I am the only one left. You're not the only one. We are here. Okay? So keep an eye out and pray.
Listen, Kemar, me tell us the man them in the spirit, them in the spirit, because like I legit always say that there are so many Christian men, like there are,
Of course.
like I don't know why people are. I tell my friends that I've been invited out a lot. The truth is, I have a lot of male single friends that are
Yes.
Christian, that love God. So they are not short. But if you keep speaking lack, if you keep speaking, that's what it will be your reality, right? Also, what is it that you're looking for? Are you looking for a man of God? Are you just a man who call himself a Christian? So it's different. But Stefan, what would you say? Oh, and to
Yeah.
also add, Kemar say, yeah, it's okay to let the interest be known. You know, it's fine to let the interest be known, but don't do the chasing. Don't do the chasing. Just express yourself. They always use the example of the story of Ruth, where Ruth and Naomi, and Naomi said, fix up yourself and the whole works. But it's not, don't pursue that man. Let him pursue you. Go ahead, Stefan.
Yes. To add to that, women, you know, focus on the spirituality, please. Um, it is good. God has giving us these jobs and houses and whatever for us to achieve, and He will blesses us with them. But at the same time, do not focus on them. Do not look if you're looking for a relationship. Don't look at what the guy can do for you, because I mean, if you two guys come together and you go before God, He will provide for you. He will provide for you. But we are too materialistic, yet still we're saying that, okay, God, we want um a man and stuff like that to whatever. But at the same time, you have acquired all those things, but yet still, if you're going to look a guy, you're going to focus on what he has, or if he's equally attainable or achievable as you. So try not to focus on the material things, but rather spiritual things, because that is where you actually lose out. Because if you do want, in most cases, you have women go to these guys who are basically on the same level, and it still doesn't work out. So obviously there is a fundamental issue right there. So focus on the spirituality. That is what you need to focus on. Focus on it. And Kemar said, they are saying that they are no man no day, but they are, and they are good, loving Christian men. Let me add that part. They are good, loving Christian men out there. I have a lot of single friends. I mean, I have a few of them that got married and they are living their life now, but we are here waiting, But like myself, I'm not really going out like Emma, so I'm not really seeing anybody because it's just work and then, well, pre-COVID school and church and home. But we are here, and let us do the chasing. Let it be known, and let we come and secure the property.
All right, so we hear it from the men, and I want to address, because I don't want any other woman listening feel like Stefan is just saying, "Oh, um, like he made his 5 year plan," and I can tell you, I've known him for a few years, and I am so proud. He's doing his degree. He has gotten a few promotions at work, and yeah, it seemed to the world that how he started out. Some men at 30, them probably own house and car and the whole works. Well, he bought a house too, so him own house too. But I mean, to the world, it would have seemed like he had a late start. But to God, he was pursuing God and doing things in God's timing. So I can tell you that none of the men, but I know Stefan was saying, focus on the spiritual, and the spiritual is not just, oh, this man will just go to church, because you have a lot of men that go to church, participate in church, and they do have a relationship with God. And sometimes we know, you understand, because we know based on how he interacts with, I think Kemar mentioned it, or a man interacts with other women, or him talk about other women, even when him talk about him probably ex, just eh, is it derogatory? Is he very self-focused, it's all about self, or is he talking about, the will of God? This is a way, and this is why I can say that I have a lot of male friends that are pursuing the things of God, and they talk about the will of God. They talk about pursuing God's way. They pray. They pray with me. I can tell you, Stefan has prayed with me during some of the hardest situations of my life. As I shared with him. So, and just how we, and sometimes as women, I think that we can be friends with, be friends. So I can tell you, like Kemar and I have spoken on multiple occasions. Even when he was going through his divorce, he would share with me some of the challenges and stuff, and we'll kind of just pray for him, or just different situation. And sometimes that's how you get to know somebody outside of the whole church, the whole, oh, him a sing pan the choir, or him a preach. Because sometimes we feel like, oh, them a preach, so there must be a man of God. No, the character. Stefan stressed it, the fruit of the spirit. And then I would add, at the end of the day, women of God that are listening to this, like, are you really a woman of God? you know, because sometimes we act like, oh, only men are try do things like, I know Christian men that I've shared that the reason why they have not been married, because every time they start pursuing a girl, she won't have sex with them. I know that men that have that situation, that the women are just not being pure, and if that's her main thing, him prefer go and chill by himself. So it's the struggle is real for them. I hope you see that the struggle is real for them as much as it is real for us, and there is no lack. Like, there is enough men. It's just that for us to know that, okay. And also, I know people might wonder, Crystal, but why are you not married? The truth is, it's God's timing. Like, it is God's timing. That is just the truth of it. So while it's nice to have my probably have our timeline, is really, I don't have a timeline. It's God's timeline, it's God's will. So I'm gonna just ask the gentlemen to just share, just probably a one tip, just one thing that you'd probably want to share, whatever the Lord lead in your heart right now as we close. And especially, I
Uh,
want you to share something towards a teenager, because I know my teenage audience is very, very popular. A lot of young people listen to my podcast. So anything that especially you want to add for teenagers, or a young person, even if they're not teenager, probably in their 20s, that is thinking about, how do I navigate relationships?
well, all I can say is that pray, because that is what get me through some of the hardest times. Pray, stay on your knees, no matter how hard it may seems. Stay on your knees, because God is faithful, and I know that you might be in the situation at the time, and your vision might be clouded, and you're not seeing any sunlight. But I can tell you, and Crystal can testify to that. Prayer works. Stay on your knees. Even the hardest time, even at the times when you feel like you don't want to because you can't be bothered, because I have been there, and Crystal know me. Well, I pray a lot. And there are times when I feel like this doesn't make sense. And sometimes I talk to Crystal and I tell her, I say, look like God now come through for me. But still pray that even in the hardest times, even the times when you feel like you don't want to, stay on your knees, because I can tell you, he might not come through for you the way that you want to, but he will come through, and he's indeed faithful.
Thank you. Your final word, Kamar?
Yes. I'd like to share it with the singles, and this can go for the teenagers as well. You know, marriage is good and lovely, but the preparation for marriage is important. And your season of singleness is not a jail sentence. Look at it as preparation. You know, your time of singleness, as I said before, is for, an undisrupted time with the Lord. Focus on your relationship, because that will bring you a far way in marriage. Um, Learn to do the basic stuff, to cook, to clean, to wash, all those things. So that when you drop in the marriage environment, you'll be good to go. You'll hit the ground running.
All right. So the man them say pray, become purposeful, and pray, become purposeful, and prepare. Right. So this is what the single men are saying. This is what the single we hear the single women. We laugh and we talk. But the men are saying, listen, we are there. We are here. It's just that um yeah, we just trying to trust God, and I'm sure that as soon as very soon when our men are the Kemar and Stefan are taken, we'll invite them back to talk about their marriage. Who knows? Let's see. But I want to thank you for listening to the Diary of a Jesus Girl podcast. And we want to just always just take the opportunity that if you're listening and you don't know Jesus Christ, right? If you might be a Christian, and or you might not be a Christian, but you desire marriage, and we're saying marriage, Kemar say marriage is beautiful, but we want to ensure that whatever foundation that we build, it is on the solid rock called Jesus Christ. So spend some time developing a relationship with him. If you're married, I mean, you might be wondering, oh, why do I need to listen to these conversations? I'm married, I'm happy, but at the end of the day, sometimes you find that a lot of married people don't talk about their situation, or they don't talk about their journey in marriage. So as singles, sometimes we feel like we're going in blindsided. So I'm definitely working on getting some couples on to share some of their journeys with us while you're in marriage, some of the things. So we're working on that. Listen, let me tell you, at the Diary of the Jesus Girl podcast, I got to, because everything that I would have wanted to hear when I just became a Christian, or even before I was a Christian, or while I'm a Christian, I'm bringing it to you. I did not see anything like that out there where I'm able to get the real raw truth about the faith journey. Yeah, we love Jesus and want impact like Jesus, but we are walking on this earth and we want to try to do it as best as possible, but the experiences of others, the advice of others will definitely help. So I want to thank my gentlemen again, Kemar and Stefan, for coming and sharing. You hear them just quiet, them quiet, more reserved kind of men. But we have, I tell you, I have some other men coming on too that will be sharing, some other single men to share also their journey. But thank you again for listening to the Diary of a Jesus Girl podcast. I hope that you were blessed. I hope that you will share this with another person. I hope that you are liking and subscribing and leaving a review on Apple and on YouTube, right? Share this, and we'll see you next week for another amazing episode. God bless you. I'm out.
Diary of a Jesus girl. Jesus girl.